WBA Intercontinental Champion. He retained that title last weekend and is tipped to be one of the fighters of the future. He's currently unbeaten. His focus, though, wasn't always in the ring. The 28-year-old was mixed in street culture at the age of 15, was almost killed as well when he was stabbed in the chest at a party. He says that was a turning point which helped him to change his life. Delighted to say that Richard joins us live in the studio. Welcome.
How you doing, Tom? Thank you.
Yeah, good, thank you. Let's start just first of all with last weekend. You are still unbeaten. You're the WBA Intercontinental Champion. How tough was that 10 rounds?
Yeah, it was a really tough 10 rounds. Props to Chris Smith. He came to win, but I just felt that I couldn't let anybody take what I've worked for and everything that I've earned from me. But we got the W, and we're moving on to bigger and better things.
And that's your biggest fight to date?
Yeah, that's my biggest fight, but every single fight was as important to get me to the stage.
I was reading an interview you did with our colleagues at Sky Sports, and you said to them, "I'll always use my life as an example so people can see the adversities I had to overcome to get to the position I'm in now." We referenced them a little bit in the introduction. Can you just tell us your backstory?
So I grew up in South East London, around the Wharf Road, Peckham area. I was involved in tons of trouble growing up. I grew up on the Aylesbury estate, and the Aylesbury estate is, you know, this low-income housing. When I came out my house, everything I saw was negative, pretty much. All the idols that we had around us were more drug dealers and people that were up to no good, pretty much. And I was just a product of my environment. It's just that plain and simple. I couldn't do any better because I didn't know any better. Finally, I realized that this lifestyle is going to end in two ways, whether it's going to be life imprisonment or it's going to be death. So,
and it almost was death.
It almost was. It almost was. When I went to the party, you know, that was just one of the main examples. You know, I nearly lost my life, and somebody tried to rob me from my phone, and I ended up getting stabbed. I said no, and it's just more of a pride thing. It's more of a street credibility type of thing, and you know, I'm very lucky to be here. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, and that's, you know, great, obviously, that you recovered and you're doing what you do now. When the point after you were stabbed, was that the time at which you thought, you know, this has to stop, and you looked for something new to do? And how did boxing come into that? Yeah,
so after I kind of sat down and thought, just kind of looked at everything in retrospect, I realised that it's not going to end right, this type of lifestyle I'm living, and it's about time that I invest in my future. And then a friend of mine came up to me, his name is Yemi, and he used to show me a lot of boxing strategies, punches, and I didn't have a clue of how to throw a jab or even to defend myself.
So you'd never boxed before?
Never.
This
never,
was the
ever.
age of what
This is quite late. This was around 18.
Okay.
And I had my first fight at 19 years of age, amateur fight. So he came and he invited me down to the gym at Lynn ABC. Went there and I was just hooked. I kind of just fell in love with the sport. I had a few fights and I realised I got a real talent that needs to be nurtured.
You said earlier, when you walked out your front door, you know, that there were no opportunities. You were a product of your environment. Can you pinpoint exactly why that is and why you felt at that point quite hopeless in terms of what the future held?
I just couldn't see any person or any people around me that were kind of on the right path and progressing into having a decent future. And everybody around me, the people that were around me that grew up, the people that I was idolizing at the time, they received a lot of respect and admiration from everybody around the area locally. So I thought that only makes sense that I follow this type of pathway and get that type of respect, gain that respect. And
how difficult is it to break out of that mindset?
Oh man, it's very difficult. Yeah. I'll tell you that, it's very difficult. Just to kind of give you an idea, I had to listen, like, I didn't always speak like this, I spoke pure slang. Sure. I had to listen to LBC, James O'Brien for, let's say, a good 6 months to be able to conversate normally because people didn't understand what I would say. I had to read a lot. I ended up going to college to do an access course and finally got into uni, went to Kingston University.
Which you say, you know, past boxing is your biggest achievement, getting that BSc, I think, from Kingston Uni.
That was a major achievement for me. I didn't think that was possible until I actually graduated. So I graduated with a degree in marketing, communications and advertising. After that, I just wanted to pursue my ultimate passion, that was boxing.
Just finally on you know, the environment you kind of grew up in before we talk about what's next for you in boxing. Do you think it's getting better for kids who grew up in the kind of environment you grew up in?
Yes and no. Why I say yes is because there are people like myself that have stories and people like your organisations that will put me on these major platforms and telling my story to show people that, listen, there is hope and people have changed their lives, and it's just a matter of getting these stories out there because we have the power with our words because we've actually been through it. So I think that in regards to that, yes, it's getting better, but at the same time, it's not, because obviously we can, you know, you just have to turn on the news and you can see the crime that's going on right now in terms of the stabbings and stuff. So it's just things need to change. Things need to change. We need to carry on pushing the stories out there, and everybody needs to kind of take a part. Now, when I say that, it's not everybody's responsibility, yes, but I think everybody can help. Everybody can help. Sky is helping right now by getting myself on Sky to tell my story. ITV's helped, Sky Sports News has helped, and people from the local community can also help as well, to like giving people opportunities, because to be honest with me, that's all I needed. I just needed an opportunity, and I changed my life just like that.
Talking about the boxing, next up, is it Lawrence Okoli, who you might fight next?
It could be.
And he's British and Commonwealth champ. Yeah. If he's next, how confident are you?
I'm very confident.
Yeah.
I'm very confident now. You know, I'll go into these fights with the ultimate amount of self-belief, and I believe that I'm here for a reason, and it's just a matter of time before I reach the number one spot.
Richard, really appreciate you coming in and speaking to us. Great to hear your story as well. Thank you for taking the time to do so. You're watching